and hearts find peace. From the top, the view is divine. Below you, 7 levels of magic. Behind you, a journey through faith, strength, and history. Olumere is more than a waterfall. It is a monument of nature, a heritage of Osun State, a national treasure waiting to be fully revealed. This is Olumere. This is Osun tourism, beyond impossibilities.
Can you imagine the feeling when you get your news as they break with fact and clarity? How entertaining do you want your entertainment news?
There can only be one African queen!
What about sport?
What a touch from Welbeck! Piece of improvisation! Instinctive thinking to have this.
Don't you want your sport analysis delivered by knowledgeable hosts? Top trending news served hot and juicy as the break. Western Spring Television, WSTV, your urban Yoruba channel for news.
Western Spring Television, ours it is.
Top stories of this hour. Court adjourns Nnamdi Kanu's trial on alleged terrorism to October 16. Federal government appeals to ASUU to shelve planned strike. Senate asks federal government to establish permanent military base in Kwara South Senatorial District following attacks. On the foreign scene, a former FBI Director James Comey pleads not guilty to charges of making false statements to Congress. Good evening, this is News at 7 on Western Spring Television. My name is Olufemi Alagbe. Justice James Omotosho of the Federal High Court Abuja has adjourned the trial of the leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, Nnamdi Kanu, on alleged terrorism to October 16th. Another trial was adjourned following the inability of the Nigerian Medical Association to present its report on the health status of Kanu to the court. At the last adjourned date, Justice Omotosho ordered the president of the Nigerian Medical Association to constitute a board of medical experts to investigate the alleged deteriorating health of the defendant and to determine whether the medical facility at the Department of State Services headquarters is adequate for his care, or if he should be moved to a private ward at the National Hospital. The report is also to determine whether Kanu is fit to stand for the continuation of his trial. At the day's proceeding, a counsel of the federal government, Suraj Assad, informed the courts that the medical board had contacted them that the report was not ready for presentation as directed by the court. A senior lawyer therefore applied for a week adjournment to enable the NMA Medical Board conclude its investigation. Following no objection to the adjournment request, Justice Omotosho fixed October 16th for the board to submit its report. Kanu is being prosecuted by the DSS on a 7-count charge bordering of his alleged involvement in terrorism activities. The third prosecution witness of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, Williams Abimbola, has confirmed during cross-examination that no regulation was breached in the transaction allowed by her bank with the Kogi State government, led by former Governor Yahaya Bello. Abimbola stated these at the resumption hearing on the alleged money laundering case instituted by the EFCC against him in Abuja. The witness, however, admitted not being the relationship or account manager of the Kogi Government House account and that the account was domiciled in Lokoja, but noted that transactions were in line with stipulated guidelines. The witness, who had testified that she worked at the Area 3 Abuja branch of UBA at a previous Federal High Court hearing on March 6, 2025, told the court that she could work at any branch. While testifying, she confirmed multiple transactions by Abdusalam Hudu in the sum of 10 million naira each between July 31 and August 6, 2019. But she told the court that she was not in a position to know why the withdrawals were made. Justice Enehni therefore adjourned the case to October 9, 2025 for continuation of hearing. The Ghana State Police Complaints and Anti-Corruption Commission has launched a fresh probe into the alleged diversion of over 4 billion naira in state funds by the administration of former Governor Abdullahi Ganduje into the Dala Inland Dry Port, despite reports suggesting that the state had been stripped of its equity stake in the project. According to reports, the funds were allegedly released in 2020 under the guise of infrastructural development for the inland port, even though Kano State's purported 20% equity share had allegedly been transferred to members of the Ganduje family, making them directors and shareholders and effectively removing the state from co-ownership. Confirming the investigation, PCACC Chairman Seidu Yahaya disclosed that the Commission acted on public petitions alleging large-scale financial misappropriation tied to the Dala project. He noted that the investigation is at an advanced stage with several persons of interest already invited for questioning. Yahaya noted that another key individual connected to the probe is said to be residing in Yola, Adamawa State, adding that efforts were underway to bring them in for questioning. Away from judicial matters, the federal government has appealed to the Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASU, to shelve its planned strike, assuring that it is committed to addressing all outstanding demands raised by the union. Addressing a news conference in Abuja on Wednesday, the Minister of Education, Tunji Alausa, said the federal government is already looking into the demands of the union and progress is already being made in the ongoing negotiations between both parties. The minister explained that the Mahmoud Yale Ahmed Federal Government Territory Institution Expanded Negotiations Committee had been constituted and inaugurated to fast-track talks with both academic and non-academic unions in universities, polytechnics and colleges of education. He added that President Bola Tinubu had given clear directives that all efforts must be made to avoid another disruption in the nation's tertiary institutions. ASU has already begun a full mobilization of its members in preparation for a possible nationwide warning strike as its 14-day ultimatum is set to expire on Sunday. The House of Representatives has rejected narratives that portray Nigeria security challenges as religiously motivated or state-sponsored. This position comes in response to a bill introduced in the United States Congress on March 11, 2025. The resolution seeks to designate Nigeria as a country of particular concern for allegedly engaging in and tolerating systemic, ongoing, and egregious violations of religious freedom. In reaction, the House mandated relevant government agencies, including the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, to compile and transmit empirical evidence that counters the claims made by the U.S. bill. The resolution followed a motion of urgent public importance moved by the Deputy Speaker, Benjamin Kalu, and was unanimously supported by members of the House. Lawmakers argued that Nigeria is not facing a religious crisis and stressed the need for prompt diplomatic action to ensure the bill does not gain traction in the U.S. Congress. 2 weeks ago, the federal government dismissed claims that terrorists in Nigeria are carrying out systemic genocide against Christians, describing the allegations as false, baseless, and despicable and divisive.
The Speaker of the House is concerned that external legislative action based on incomplete or decontextualized assessment risks undermining Nigerian sovereignty, misrepresenting facts, straining strategic relations, and unintentionally emboldening violent actors. Mindful of Nigeria's long-standing partnership with the United States as our ally, especially on counterterrorism, human rights, democratic governance, and interfaith dialogue, the African Union's emphasis on tolerance and inclusive society. Based on this, Mr. Speaker, the House resolves as follows. Number 1, condemn all forms of violence, prosecution against any person or group on the basis of religion or belief. Commiserate with all victims irrespective of faith. The House resolves to reject outrightly narratives that frame Nigerian security crisis as a singularly religious conflict or a state-sponsored persecution, and reaffirms Nigeria's constitutional protections, freedom of religion and belief. The House mandates committees of foreign affairs, national security and intelligence, bureau and information, national orientation and values, to within 21 days coordinate with A, Federal Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Nigerian Embassy in Washington, D.C., to lodge a formal diplomatic demand to the sponsors of S-2747.
As a Red Chamber, the Senate has asked the federal government to establish a permanent military base in the Kwara South Senatorial District. The senators particularly asked that the base be near the forest belts of the Ifelodun local government area to serve as a rapid response hub against worsening insecurity in the region. The resolution followed a motion sponsored by Senator Lola Ashiru on the urgent need to address insecurity in the Kwara South Senatorial District, raising the alarm over the spate of kidnappings, killings, and attacks by armed bandits. Senate expressed a grave concern about the terror chain security situation, especially in the concerned local government area, where entire communities had been displaced. The Senate therefore urged the Chief of Defense Staff and the Inspector General of Police to deploy more troops and special units to collect criminal elements from the forest and restore peace in the affected areas.
Go through the urgent need to address insecurity in Kwara South Senatorial District and beyond, and particularly in the federal local government area, call for immediate and comprehensive federal intervention. The Senate notes with grave concern the escalating insecurity in Kwara South Senatorial District, especially in the Ifelodun local government area, where bandits attacks, kidnappings and killing have reached alarming levels in recent weeks, forcing thousands of residents to flee their communities. And I will want the Senate to take note that most of these people who are fleeing, straight away, they are going to Lagos to congest Lagos. And if you are not very careful, this thing will quickly snowball in Lagos State. Further notes that within the last month, no fewer than 12 foreign guards and local vigilante members were killed in an ambush by armed bandits in Okeode, including a traditional ruler, Bale of Ogba Ayo community, and several other traditional and community leaders were among those slain in separate incidents in Babanda, Sagbe, Uruago, Gamu Aleri, in the Ifelodun local government.
I want all the federal government to establish a permanent military base in Kwara South Senatorial District, near the forest belts of Ifelodun, as a rapid response hub, and mandate the Chief of Defense Staff, Inspector General of Police, to deploy additional troops and special units to clear the forests and restore normalcy in the affected communities. Those in support of prayer want to say aye.
The ranks of All Progressives Congress APC in the Senate have risen to 73 following the defection of Senator Kelvin Chukwu of the Labour Party. The Senate formally announced Chukwu's defection during plenary, marking another shift in the composition of the 10th National Assembly. The lawmaker who represents Enugu East Senatorial District says his defection followed what he described as the disorganization within the Labour Party. But the Senate President Godswill Akpabio, in his remarks, called on opposition parties to reorganize and provide credible alternatives, warning that their current disarray poses a threat to democratic vibrancy in the country. Echoing the Senate President's sentiments, Senate Leader Okpeyemi Bandele attributed the growing support for the APC to the administration's handling of the economy. With the latest developments, the current distribution of seats in the Senate shows that the APC has 73 members, of the People's Democratic Party PDP has 28, while the Labour Party has 4. The All Progressives Grand Alliance APGA has 2 senators, the Social Democratic Party SDP and the New Nigerian People's Party NNPP have 1 each. Meanwhile, the Senate on Wednesday formally swore in 2 newly elected lawmakers, Joseph Ikpe and Emmanuel Onwachukwu, representing Edo Central and Anambra South senatorial districts. The swearing-in, which took place during plenary, was presided over by the President of the Senate, Godswill Akpabio, while the Clerk of the Senate, Emmanuel Ojo, administered the oath of office and allegiance. The development followed the recent by-elections conducted to fill 2 vacant seats. One of the seats was previously occupied by Monday Okpebholo, and now Governor of Edo State, and the other by late Senator Ifeanyi Ubah, who died in July 2024. Akpabio urged the new senators to familiarize themselves with and abide by the Senate's standing rules in the discharge of their legislative duties.
Today, you are no longer a senator of your political party. You are a senator of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Once you step into this chamber, you drop your party outside and come in here as a senator of the Federal Republic of Nigeria with the intention of carrying out and contributing to debates and other functions here as a nationalist and keeping Nigeria constantly in mind. Your colleagues who have been here will continue to assist you so that you get used to the nuances of proceedings of lawmaking. I must say that we have given you 2 items today. One is the Nigerian Constitution, which you must try to imbibe the contents. It's not just a ceremony. It's to let you know that is the ground norm and that all our authority in this hallowed chamber comes through the Nigerian Constitution. The second one that we have given you, which you must start reading from today, is the Senate Standing Orders 2023 as amended. The content will show you the proceedings. Because sometimes, if you are new and you come in, you may not know why we do certain things at certain times. And if the presiding officer should tell you that you are ruled out of order, please don't be angry. It's because you have breached a section.
The National Association of Nigerian Students has warned that it will mobilize students across the country to occupy federal highways if efforts to sabotage private refineries, particularly the Dangote refinery, continue. In a strongly worded statement delivered during a national warning protest held simultaneously in Abuja, Asaba, and Lagos, NAN's President Comrade Olusola Oladoja condemned what he described as a coordinated attempt by vested interests to frustrate Nigeria's refining independence. They criticized the ongoing pressure by trade unions, especially Pengasan, and to impose union membership on private refinery workers, calling it unconstitutional and a threat to investment. Anans accused international oil companies, product importers, and local unions of conspiring to maintain Nigeria's dependency on imported fuel by frustrating local refining efforts. The association linked the situation to the collapse of the country's textile industry, which is blamed on similar sabotage and lack of government protection. The Osun State government has announced it will soon begin free eye screening for pupils and teachers in private primary and secondary schools across the state as part of Governor Ademola Adeleke's Imole School Eye Health Program. This was disclosed by the Executive Secretary of the Osun Health Insurance Agency, Razak Akindele, at the fourth quarter meeting with the service providers organized by the agency and attended by representatives of health facilities working with the organization, held in Osogbo on Wednesday. On April 30, the state government commenced medical procedures for pupils in public primary and secondary schools who have serious eye defects. Akindele disclosed these while speaking at the concluding session of the two-day first quarter providers forum and training on basic emergency care for OSHA accredited providers held in Osogbo. He said 345,000 public primary and secondary school pupils were screened for eye-related challenges under the state-funded initiative called the Imole School Eye Health Care Program. Still to come, Nigeria Police Force says enforcement of vehicle tinted glass permit has been suspended following court order halting the exercise. We'll bring you on this when we return.